Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my top 3 political cartoon countdown for the week. Every week or so, or a few weeks, we get together and I pick out the cartoon of the most recent week and shoot it out to the top 3. So here we have, this is for October 23rd, 2024. Now here, cutting to the chase, here we have former president, potential next president of the United States, Donald Trump, and Lindsey Graham watching the former president here, being interviewed here, and on Fox News. So here you go. There it is, on Fox News channel. And Lindsey Graham, who's a very, very devout ally of former President Donald Trump, watching it with great enthusiasm, the interview. And here we go. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, South Carolina, and devout political ally of former President and potential next President Donald Trump, watching Trump on Fox News amid interview with anchor Maria Bartiromo. She's an anchor at the station. As Trump suggesting using the military to deal with what he called the enemy from within. Okay, adding, when it comes to the 2024 election, his political opponents are more a threat to the U.S. than foreign adversaries like China and Russia. So you could assume, you can make the inference that the enemy from within are his political opponents. You could infer that if you chose to do that. Okay? I'll leave that up to you. Okay? So, threats to U.S. than foreign adversaries like China and Russia. Now, we know that the entire intelligence has brought forth some sort of evidence that they are suspicious that Russia has been trying to hack into our voting system and influence the election. And they have some strong, based upon their observations and the data they gathered, they have suspicions that Russia is attempting to do this. This is what they said. They never came forth with the exact evidence they had, but they said they suspect Russia of being, that they will try something if they have not, in terms of with artificial intelligence and with this and that and all that business. So you heard enough about that. Okay. And this, again, now here's Lindsey Graham, and given in the wake of the January 6th Capitol riot, that Lindsey was very upset about that Capitol 6 riot. Graham said Trump, he wanted out after that. He got up there and he said, Trump and I had a hell of a journey. All I can say is count me out. You know? That was before Kevin McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago and made kind of sugarcoated the whole situation there. So Kevin McCarthy, in a way, rehabilitated the downfall, the negative vibes that President Trump generated from his reaction and everything surrounding the January 6th Capitol riot. You know, you've heard enough about that too. You okay? So anyway, Trump and I had a hell of a journey, and all I can say is count me out. Now here is President Trump, okay, and he's saying this in the interview on Fox News. So there we go, Fox News channel. Okay, I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people and radical left lunatics. I think it should be very easily handled if necessary, by the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military. So he's not making the distinction here between the military. Even going back to George Washington, the first president of the United States, always felt that the military of the United States should be should be their focus and only focus should be on foreign adversaries and not to use the military against the American citizens. So I think it can be inferred here that former President Trump is crossing that line and saying, well, we're going to use the military on people who are political opponents. So that's crossing the line there from the founding from George, first president of the United States, So he's going beyond. He's crossing that line and taking a new position on what the U.S. military should be doing, on what their function should be, and expanding it to now cover political opponents in the United States. Okay, that's President Trump, former President Trump. That's his position on the U.S. military. And here goes Lindsey. Let's have a shot at Lindsey here. Here's Lindsey Graham. Here he is. Lindsey, I'm sure didn't like this too much. You could see here from his reaction, There you go. Oh, boy. Oh, he don't like this at all. And he's saying, all I can say is, if Trump calls in military on political opponents, the hell of a journey we had is over. Count me out. So he's going to go back to his count me out business, just like on January 6th, and say the same thing until the winds die down, and who knows what that will bring. So that's the basically the shifting sands of Lindsey Graham here. You could see he was upset. This could have been January 6th, his expression on his face when he was talking in the wake of January 6th. I'm sure he had the same type of expression on his face, You see there? His blue eyes all fired up, and he's pretty angry, and he's saying, boy, it's count me out again, and then something else happens, and then we go on as we were going. All right, so here it is. That was it. Fox News Channel. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough room to draw Maria Bartiromo into the picture. Sorry, Maria, didn't have enough room for this one. Okay, so there you go. There it was. Okay, that was number 3 of the week. Number 2, we got here Barack Obama coming into the picture now. He's coming back. He's coming back here to support Kamala Harris. Here he is. There he is. And there's Trump watching him. This is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a very, very important state. It's a, it's not a state. It's a commonwealth. Pennsylvania is a commonwealth. It's not. They call themselves a commonwealth. It's not a state. That's how it's defined as a commonwealth. Okay. Okay, and it's basically a battleground state. It's one of the states that's very critical and very close. They're very close there, and it's a very critical, groundbreaking state. So Obama went there, former President Obama went there to campaign for Kamala Harris. Okay, and here we have Kamala Harris and the Waltz team. Let's just say the Harris Waltz team. Okay. There he is. Okay, now I'll read this to you. Former President, potential next President Donald Trump, watching former President Barack Obama campaigning for Vice President Kamala Harris in the vital battleground Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at a rally at the University of Pittsburgh on October 10th, 2024. Okay, here he is. Okay. Now, Obama's saying here he is, for Donald Trump, freedom is getting away with stuff. That's how so giving him, freedom is basically for Donald Trump. Freedom means freedom for him to do what he pleases. That's how he defined, that's what Obama is saying here, basically. Freedom is for Donald Trump to do as he pleases. Whatever stuff he wants to do, his stuff. Okay? And Trump responding here to watching this on the flat screen here. Here he is. Here he is watching this. Okay, and he's saying this. What about the fraud stuff pulled by some people that stole my 2020 election victory? Freedom is a president having the right to terminate the Constitution, which Trump said he was leaning towards in a false and fraudulent election. So back then now he wanted to terminate the Constitution in terms of it was a greater threat to our country, the Constitution, the threat of what he perceived as a false, what he said, I don't know what he perceived or not. That's what's in his mind. We don't know what he perceived. But what he said was that the election was stolen, fraudulent, and was against the will of the people, the results. And it was manipulated. There was never any proof of that. Nobody ever came. The courts went through it all, and everybody went through it all with a microscope, and nobody could find nothing, really of significance that would have, no, I don't say nothing, but nothing of significance that could have changed the election. So, and even his own Attorney General, William Barr, said, Mr. President, we have no evidence, and you know what Trump called him, for saying that. So I'm going to go into that. So anyway, so here, freedom is a president having the right to terminate the Constitution in a false and fraudulent election. And I introduced this, and that's basically what he said. That's constitutional freedom. That's constitutional freedom. Constitutional freedom, as defined, freedom from the Constitution to block you from what you believe or what you want to, whether you believe it or not. What you're trying to do is to overturn the election. Whether you believe it or not, that's up for the courts to decide. But in any event, the bottom line is you're trying to overturn an election, that there's no proof of any kind of fraudulent activity or anything that would have changed the election results. But you say that, and you want to do that as President of the United States. So basically, then that you need freedom from the Constitution to go about what you want to say is the will of the people. Whether it may or may not be is immaterial. But if you as president believe, or not this again, if you want to do that procedure with the electoral votes and getting fake electoral votes and putting in your own attorney general and do these things, well, it's in the interest of the people. And you want to say that, then the Constitution is an obstacle. And that's what you need, is freedom from the Constitution. And that's that's constitutional freedom. There it is. So there was Obama campaigning there, former President Trump. There he is. There he is. Okay. At Pittsburgh, at the University of Pittsburgh. Okay. All right. Before we get to number one, I just want to introduce you to, I know we're getting to 2024. God willing, I'll have a book of, there'll be a Richard's Best of 2024 political cartoon book, God willing. But until then, this is my latest book for 2023. And I'll invite you to go to my website, which is richardsbooksofpoliticalcartoons.com. No apostrophe S on the Richards. And here are some here are some highlights of that here. You can see here. There, it's in color. I'll give you here. We have President Trump's mug photo. There, you know, some things. And okay, here we have a close call with the airplanes, the China and the U.S. When we had that close call. And that was Paul Rand there. So that was, Rand Paul. I said Rand Paul. Senator Rand Paul. Should I find record? Okay. That was you. If you could that's just you could. There it is. I'll just beam it into you so you could give you a sample of the cartoons that I have in this book from the year 2023. Okay, folks. Now on to numero uno. Now, before I present you this cartoon, I have to give you a little bit, just today, from John Kelly, who was former president's White House chief of staff, who was close to the president. It came out. I think it came out in an article, in a report from The Atlantic, that former President Trump had said basically that Hitler did some good things and that he would like all his generals to be like Hitler's generals. And Hitler did, the only thing I know Hitler did, you could look at it from way, he got the trains to run on time. You know, Hitler did, I read one time, got the trains in Germany to run on time. And then he did some other thing, which I'm not going to go into, but at the other side of the coin, you know, I ain't going to go there. And I don't want to go there because it's already there for you to read historically, and you could just look it up. Now, what I basically did in this cartoon was pick out. Now, Adolf Hitler never had a press secretary. In those days, he didn't need a press secretary because there was no television, you see, and there was no internet. And back when Hitler took power in the 30s and so forth, and through the World War II, there was no internet, there was no television. All there was was really the radio, and he had no press secretary. No press was asking him questions, because the press if the press started asking him questions, that would be the end of anybody that would be, you know, exported to you know where. So there was no problem with that. But the closest thing that Hitler had to a press secretary was his propaganda minister. And his propaganda minister of propaganda was a man called Joseph Goebbels. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? Now, given today, you know, it came out that Hitler had some, you can infer that he had some admiration just by John Kelly, by the article there, and what they conveyed, what John Kelly reportedly told the Atlantic, that the president had some sort of a model himself after in a certain way, idiosyncrasies, let's say. I'm going to be very kind of Adolf Hitler, some idiosyncrasies. And he had some that he wanted to carry on in himself as president. And again, he said he would like his generals to be like, he did say, this is word for word, he said like his generals should be like Hitler's generals, and he said Hitler did some good things. All right, that's what he said. I'm not saying that he said it. This is from John Kelly, and from, as reported in The Atlantic, from the report that the Atlantic reported on. So I'm really getting it secondhand here, but I'm shooting it out in light of this cartoon that I did. Okay. I don't think John Kelly would make up stuff, and he was right there with the former president, very close, as the White House chief of staff. You know, I don't think we'll get a man like John, if President Trump is reelected president, I don't think he'll pick a man like John Kelly again. Let's put it that way. Okay, so here we got now. This is what I did here. I took somebody who former president and potential next president Donald Trump fantasy of retribution. That's he's always talking about. The former president is always talking about retribution. There's going to be retribution, and this is Trump's retribution fantasy on U.S. broadcasting stations if he wins a second term. That in the wake of Trump's rage at CBS over how the station changed a, quote, 60 Minutes interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. Given Trump posting on social media, quote, 60 Minutes is a major part of the news organization of CBS, which has created the greatest fraud in broadcasting history. So what he's doing now, basically, is he's taking a thing that 60 Minutes did, the show, and he's putting a whole blanket over the whole CBS station and taking severe measures should be brought against them because they showed what CBS did do was they showed the edited version and the unedited version. But I have to say, they did it after this came out. They didn't do it before it came out. They did it after it came out. So you be the judge on CBS, okay? You be the judge on that one. That's in the eyes of the beholder. I don't want to transfer from a cartoonist to a political commentator or anything like that. I say that's up to you to decide about your call on CBS, okay? So they did bring out, again, before the edited, unedited version, after this was brought out, about them changing Kamala Harris's response in the interview, okay? Given Trump posting on social media, okay, fraud in broadcast, and Trump goes on to say, news organization of CBS, which has created the greatest fraud in broadcast history. He's calling this the greatest fraud in broadcast history. CBS should lose its license, and it should be bid out to the highest bidder. Okay? So basically, the former president is teeing off like he does on the golf course, boom. He's teeing off on this incident, and he's teeing off, and he's saying, as should all other broadcast licenses. So he's going to go all the way through. He's going to wipe out ABC, NBC. He wants to get rid of them all and put them all up for sale. It seems like this because they are just as corrupt as CBS. So if they're corrupt as CBS, we got to get rid of them too. Basically, that's the inference you could make, very logical inference. And maybe even worse. So that maybe even worse, NBC and ABC may be even worse than CBS. So if we're going to take away their licenses and not do the other, then we're being very remiss in that. So we have to, and negligent. So we have to take care of everybody. Okay? Maybe even worse. And the current chairwoman of the Communications Commission denounced the former president's threats against free speech, which is against free speech if you're against political commentators, because the other stations did not, there was no evidence the other stations changed anything in any of their interviews, only CBS. So he's putting them under the thing. So then you have to draw the conclusion that this is based upon political views of what the other people said, because the other stations didn't change any interviews. So if he's saying they're all just as bad, that means that means it's politics. Basically, he's coming down to his political enemies. Commission, so that's why she's saying here, threats against free speech and she's saying it should be taken serious and not to be ignored. So this is the present chairwoman of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. So she's saying that or writing that. I don't know if she wrote it or said it, but that was that. It was definitely expressed by her. Now, here is former President Trump here at where he is. This is at a rally here. Okay, he's got, here he is. All right. Okay. And now, and here he is, his appointee. Here's his appointee. and our appointee is named Joseph Goosebells. So I kind of didn't want to, I kind of did a play on, in a way, on Goebbels, and I spelt it, if you want to look up Goebbels, you got to replace the goose with the G-O-E, with the G-O-E, and you replace the goose with G-O-E, and you got it there. If you want to look it up in the historical past of what Joseph Goebbels was up to during his position as the minister there of propaganda, you're free to go ahead and look it up. I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm interested here in just giving you the facts, and you decide what you want to think of it. So here it is. Here's President Trump, former President Trump, and here's his pick in his next administration. Here he is. Let's get a look here. There he is. And here is Joseph Goosebells, his nominee, Goosebells. Fictional character I made up. Giving thumbs up to President Trump, former President Trump. There he is. There he is. Okay. Here we go. Here goes former President Trump. I'm proud to formally announce today my intention to nominate Joseph Goosebells as the next chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC. They regulate all the TV networks and they regulate everything that goes on. The FCC, that's their position, to regulate that. So he'd be regulating, he'd have the power to address the TV stations and with licensing and everything like that. I have heard many good things about him, and I know under his leadership, we will face our enemies in the fake news media. It is now my honor and privilege to welcome your next chairman of the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, Joseph Goosebells. And here he is. There's President Trump. Welcome him, and there he is. Thumbs up. Last shot. Okay. All right, folks. I want to thank you very much for watching my cartoon countdown today. God bless you. God bless America. And I pray that there will be peace someday. It looks very, very dismal in the Mideast now. And I've said this before, and I feel strongly that the only real solution is to have the Arab countries come in with and the United States, and work. The United States should be like on the peripheral. It should be the Arab nations working together to build the peace, because that to me seems like the most logical approach to take, for them to have a joint governing body in Gaza and work to get the Palestinian people an independent area, a free and peaceful nation, and at the same time to quell the concerns of Israel after October 7th, that horrible, brutal, barbaric attack they suffered. And that I don't think that will, the same thing with the Gaza, what happened there. I mean, this will reverberate for generations. There's no question about it. This will be for generations to come on both sides. But to mitigate that horrible, the horrible events, I think you need a strong coalition of Arab countries to come in and say, look, we all went through tough times. Let's try and build a better future. And that's all I have to say about that. And again, with Ukraine, it looks like North Korea now is going to call in. I don't think Kim Jong-un is going to send in a bunch of like Abbott and Costello service warriors who are just going to be having fun and not knowing what to do and being like like being some sort of F troop. I don't think that Kim Jong Un is going to send in his F troop squad. I think he's going to send in the best that he's got, because he wants that friendship with Putin, and I think the Ukrainians are in for a tough time, and I think we should do all we can to help them now, and without sending in any troops, especially with this prospect. And that's all I have to say. Maybe I said too much, but that's what's on my mind, and that's what I've said. So God bless you folks. God bless America, and God bless our troops. And I'll see you next time. Take care, folks. Bye.